Good afternoon, everyone. This is Queenie Clem with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews, and I am your literary ambassador. And today we have a special guest on our channel. Please introduce yourself, Natasha.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natasha Hughes-Smith, and so glad to be here, Queenie.
All right. What is your genre and what attracted you to that genre?
I write suspenseful romance thrillers, and I guess what attracted me to that is I loved reading romance novels, but I like to add a twist to have some suspense and some thrills in there. And in my opinion, I write books that both males and females can enjoy.
Okay. Now tell us about your book.
My current work is Wealth of Lies. I'm very excited about this. It's the prequel to Reflections. So it's part of the Reflection series, which will be a 4-part book. I'm currently working on the 3rd novel in that series. But Wealth of Lies takes place in 1955. So it's a little nostalgia going on in Detroit, Michigan, 1955. It follows the Barrington family. The grandfather of Vincent, who is one of the characters from Reflections. And so we learn about the history of lies that their wealth was built upon, and the love story of Bernard Barrington, again, who is the grandfather of Vincent.
Okay. Now, what is your inspiration behind the book?
The inspiration, my first novel, Reflections, was actually based on a dream that I had, the general premise. And so from that general premise, I built upon the story, and I fell in love with the characters. And one of the characters, John Barrington, in Reflections, discusses how their family history and wealth is built on the foundation of lies. So I started thinking about what could those lies be. And so that's when I developed the concept for Wealth of Lies, and immediately started working on it as soon as I published Reflections. And so that is where the Reflection series started. It started in a dream I had back in 2008.
Wow. Wow. Now, what is your writing process like?
I like to do an outline the story, and then as ideas come to me, sometimes they come like anything. When you're not working on something, your mind is clear and an idea comes. So I could be driving, I could be in the bed about to, trying to fall asleep. And so I'll jot those ideas. Well, I don't jot them down. I put them in my cell phone and come back to them later. As they fit into the story. So I do start off with a working outline, and then it grows from there. Sometimes I may end up deleting things in the outline, but that's the general guide that I use.
Okay. Now, how do you develop your characters?
My characters pull a lot of things from me, personality or experiences. And so I base that to develop the characters, and because they share some characteristics of me, it makes it a little bit easier for me to think about how they will react to a situation. Yet they're still their own entity and not just a duplication of me. Because like in Reflections, there's a little bit of me and Jeffrey, there's a little bit of me and Vivian. And in some small ways, a little bit of me and Vincent. So that's pretty much right at this stage where I get my inspiration from for the characters. It's just pulling a little bit of me or people that I know into creating stories that are not based on us or those people, but just pulling a little bit of personality or the issues into the characters.
Okay, how do you develop the plot of that story? How did you?
It really just came to me as I was writing Reflections, and the plot of Wealth of Lies kind of came to me, and just jotted it down in that outline. Even with my current work in progress, those ideas and plots came to me while I was writing Reflections. So I already had an idea where I wanted to go with the 3rd one while I was writing the 2nd. And with the fourth and final book of the series, I have a general idea where I want to go with that one. I've jotted ideas down or put ideas down on the phone. So that's generally how they've started. And then as I actually write the outline, I can, add to it or fill in the gaps.
Okay. Now, Natasha, tell us about your publishing journey.
I started writing reflections back in 2008 because I was laid off. And once I got back to work a couple of years later, I completely stopped. Well, actually, I got back to work a year later and I stopped working on it. So my journey may be a little bit different than most. I didn't try to go the professional publishing route because it had taken me so long to get to the point of actually finishing the story. So I didn't finish Reflections until 2020. And so I didn't want to go the route of being professionally published where I had to submit samples. I felt like the story had already taken long enough to be birthed and that it was time for it to be put out there. So I self-published. I didn't even look at any other route. Initially, I had planned to go the traditional route, but I had, sat on that story for over a decade. So once I finished, I just went the self-publishing route, and I didn't even contemplate traditional publishing with the second or the third. Maybe after I get finished with this series, I might look at some traditional publishing routes. I'm not sure.
Okay. What do you think your role is in the literary industry?
I've always enjoyed storytelling, so I just feel like I have great ideas to share with the world, and hopefully they'll be noticed and recognized by more people. But I just feel like this is a gift that was long overdue that I should have been pursuing years ago and didn't. So for me right now, I'm just trying to allow my talent and gift bloom. Maybe in someone hearing my story, it might inspire them. But at this point, I don't feel like I'm one that can go out specifically to try to inspire, encourage new authors or people who are just starting their journey, because I'm really in the midst of my own and just trying to find my voice and let my stories be developed and told.
Mm-hmm. Now, what has been your greatest accomplishment thus far in the literary world?
Just the fact that I actually finished. I'm the type of person, I hate to start something and not see it through. And I felt like the reflection story was such a great story that I felt like I was shortchanging myself and a gift that I felt like God had given me. So I didn't want that story to be told by someone else. So I had to finish it. Queenie, kind of lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry. Ask your question again.
What was your greatest accomplishment?
Okay. Just getting that story out there. And now I have the excitement of building upon that first story. And I have, like I said, enjoyed storytelling from a very early age. I've written what I had hoped as a teenager or like 14 to be a screenplay for a movie. But I used to tell stories to my friends and nieces that are my age as a child. So I've always enjoyed an aspect of storytelling. So my greatest accomplishment at this point is just giving life to those stories that I've had in me for a long time, and new stories that are being birthed that I'm writing. And so I hope to eventually go to pick up some old ideas that I had for stories and bring them to life. So I'm just really excited and proud of the work that I've done and trying to tell as many people as possible about it, trying to get it recognized or seen by some folks that are maybe in a position to help me grow it even further. And I would love for them to be made into a movie, either a Lifetime or Netflix, something. So I'm really proud of Reflections, and I'm just really blown away by Wealth of Lies. Is when I put it in audio and I was listening to the narrator, so I could approve each chapter. I was like, wow, did I write this? So
Yes, yes.
and so I feel like it's better than Reflections. I feel like Reflection was a good story, but I feel Wealth of Lies is an even more powerful story. And my first review said that it was a masterpiece. He said it's one that everybody should have for their library. And that was, it almost brought me to tears receiving that review, because I really feel like this is a great, great story. And I'm hoping that my third one will be just as good. I won't even say better. Like when I was writing Wealth of Lies, it was like, I hope it's just as good as Reflections or better. But Wealth of Lies, I feel like it's such a great, great story. And it's full of all those twists and turns and plot twists and things that are unexpected that I like to be a part of the story.
Okay. Talking about reviews, how do you feel about reviews, whether they're good or bad?
You know, I had one review for Reflections that really rubs me the wrong way every time I think about it. But I have to realize that not every story is for every person. So you take the critique and you use it constructively the best way you can. The lowest review didn't leave any review. She just gave a rating. But not every story is for every person, just like I've seen and read stories that weren't for me, and it's okay. There is a reader out there or a viewer, if it's a movie, for every work that someone does. So just take it and use it as constructively as possible. And that's what I have to remind myself.
Okay, you were saying you're making this Reflections into a series and you're on book 3 working right now.
Yes.
So can you talk anything about your third book and fourth book?
The third book, the working title is Bianchi, which is a mob family that's mentioned in Reflections and has more of a presence in Wealth of Lies. And so the patriarch, upcoming patriarch of that family will be the basis for the third story. And it will take place in 1970. So I'm still dipping back in the past. And I'm a person who loves research, so I try to make sure that I'm thinking of what actually was happening during those times so it can be historically accurate. And as far as everything, technology, fashion, slang, just the way that people communicated with each other. So the work in progress is about the Bianchi Mafia family. So I'm very excited about that. And to me, it should be on the big screen. That story, the others, okay, Lifetime, Netflix, but Bianchi should be on the big screen. So I hope I can do the story justice and produce a great book. I want my novels to be something that people can discuss and have a intellectual discussion about, not just something that you just read, oh, it was good, it made me cry, or it made me this or that, but to actually have articulate and intellectual discussion about the feelings and the views of the characters and their experiences and their choices.
Do you have any in-person or virtual events this year?
I have a couple of in-person events that are going to be happening, but before I answer that, if I could dip back and talk about the fourth one, because I didn't, that is going to take place in present day. And that will be, the focus will be on Vivian's best friend, Shannon. her story. And I do have a couple of upcoming events, one next week in Royal Oak, Michigan, at a farmer's market in Royal Oak. And that's pretty much it. Those two events, one in March and one in April at the same venue.
Okay, let's talk about the cover. I love Reflections cover. Can you talk about that and how that came to be?
Thank you for that. It wasn't totally what I envisioned. I had some difficulty communicating that to the graphic art designer because I wanted Vivian to sit in her wedding gown as she was, but I wanted her reflection to go on and on like you're looking in how you stand in the mirror in front of you and there's one behind you. And it's like the reflection goes on forever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I wanted it, but I didn't communicate it well enough. And I'm learning that the cover is very important because I think some people look at the cover and they may think it's about one thing and not realize it's about something a little bit, I don't want to say deeper, but it's not a fluff romance novel, if that makes sense. So I took a little bit more time with the second novel, Wealth of Lies. At first, I was going to call it Ripple Effect. I'm like, well, does that really give a person an idea what the story is about? And I was having difficulty with the cover. And then I just thought it hit me. Wealth of Lies. John said the family's foundation of wealth was built on lies. So wealth of lies, what are those lies? It's a play on words. It's their wealth is built on lies, and there are a lot of lies that are revealed in the story. And so I'm trying to really put some deeper focus onto the cover art. But thank you that you thought that was beautiful, the reflections. So with Bianchi, I'm really trying to articulate what I'm looking for to have a cover that really stands out, that not only shows sex appeal, but shows the danger of the mob, because Ricky is a character who's extremely sexy, has a lot of sex appeal. He's multifaceted, he's got a great sense of humor, but he's very deadly.
Well, thank you. So do you think you will write in any other genre?
I have some ideas for some horror, but I think they would be more so maybe a collection of short stories. Not sure about that, but for right now, it's purely that romance, suspense, thriller. But I do have an idea for maybe one that might just be romance. But as I think about that story and make notes, I still see it going into a suspense thriller aspect. But it's possible that I might write a horror. We'll see.
Okay. Where can readers find you and your books?
Right now, my books are sold on Amazon. They're in all formats, from the ebook to hardcover, paperback, audiobooks, and also on Kindle Unlimited, if people are interested in that. So solely on Amazon right now. And if they want to order an autographed copy, then they can check out my Facebook page, and they will be able to order one directly from me if they like to have one that's autographed. And on Facebook, I am under author Natasha, author-Natasha. Gotta work on my gotta work on that, the social media stuff a little bit better, but under author Natasha is where they can find my links to the other media like Instagram and YouTube and Twitter. I also have a podcast that I just started working on developing in September. It's called Talking Stories with Natasha. It's on Apple Podcasts. And there I discuss, obviously, my novels. I discuss my favorite movies. And I also interview other indie authors. So people can check me out there as well. And on Patreon, Talking Stories with Natasha.
Okay, and that's gonna start in September?
That's going. That's already going. It's been going
Okay.
since September.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Is there
Yeah.
anything else you would like to add before we close?
Just check out Reflections and Wealth of Lies. You'll be very surprised. I try to make my characters very realistic. I was glad that a lot of readers have given me that feedback that they are relatable, they are realistic. And so I just definitely, if you've already read Reflections, you have to check out Wealth of Lies.
I am. And can you show the book covers?
Book covers. This is Wealth of Lies. And forgive me on film backing up to show you Reflections. So here we are, the two novels that I have published so far.
I need to ask the question. So where Reflections leave off, Wealth of Lies picks up.
No, Wealth of Lies is set in 1955. So we got some historical fiction going on. 1955 Detroit. Reflections is current day. My work in progress would be in 1970. And then the final story will bring us back to present day.
Can I play a little game with you before you go?
Okay.
Okay, it's your favorites. What is your favorite color?
Favorite color right now, I would have to say, is lavender purple family. So lavender.
Oh, yes, yes. Favorite number?
2.
2. Favorite food?
Chinese. Anything Asian. Let me put it Asian because I like Thai, I like Chinese, Japanese, so Asian.
And favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
Hmm?
I'll do a blanket and say DC movies. I love superhero movies, so I guess the favorite would be Superman is my favorite DC character, superhero character, period. So anything with Superman.
Okay, and what are you currently reading right now?
I don't have a current read right now. So that's kind of my shame as a writer. I don't have a current read.
Hey, that's okay. But thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it.
And I appreciate you, Queenie, always.
And this is Queenie with Queenie's Book Talk and Reviews. Happy reading. Bye, y'all.